You know, we've all been told to eat our broccoli, right? It's pretty much the poster child for healthy eating, and we always hear about its power to fight inflammation. But what if its real secret isn't about fighting at all? What if it's about training?
And that idea, that simple question, is really at the heart of a fascinating new study that just might change how we think about superfoods. It asks, what if the real benefit of these foods isn't about fighting stress, but about teaching our bodies how to handle it?
Now, to really get why that's such a radical thought, we first have to talk about a well-known puzzle in nutritional science. We have, a mountain of data that suggests certain diets lead to better health, but actually proving how a single food does its job in a lab, well, that's surprisingly tricky.
So here's the gap, right? We see in big population studies over and over again that people who eat lots of fruits and veggies are healthier. But then, when scientists try to isolate just one food, like our friend broccoli, and prove its direct effect in a super-controlled trial, the results are often, well, they're subtle, almost invisible. And for scientists, that's a real challenge.
To solve this puzzle, a lot of scientists are starting to rethink what health even means. They're moving toward this really cool concept called phenotypic flexibility. The big idea here is that a healthy body isn't just sitting there static, it's resilient. Think about how quickly you bounce back from a tough workout or a really late night. That's flexibility in action.
Okay, so if that's the goal, how in the world do you measure that resilience? Well, researchers at Maastricht University came up with a pretty clever experiment. They decided to give the body a kind of metabolic pop quiz, just to see how it would perform under a little bit of pressure.
So in this double-blind crossover trial, which was published in Frontiers in Nutrition, they brought in 12 healthy people. And the goal wasn't just to see what broccoli sprouts did on a normal day, but to see how they might prepare the body for a sudden metabolic challenge.
And the setup was really key here. On different days, so everyone got to be in both groups, each participant drank one of two mixtures. The first was made from broccoli sprouts, which are just loaded with a powerful compound called sulforaphane. The other, the placebo, was made from pea sprouts, looked and tasted similar, but it doesn't have that key ingredient. This design is so important because it means any difference they found would almost certainly be because of the sulforaphane.
So here's how the day went. The participants would drink their sprout mixture and then just wait about 90 minutes for it to get into their system. Then came the challenge, a 950-calorie shake designed to put their metabolism under some serious but temporary stress. By taking blood samples before and after that shake, the scientists could get a perfect snapshot of exactly how each person's body was responding. Now, the researchers had a pretty clear expectation. They thought they'd see the broccoli sprout group show less inflammation after that fatty shake. That's what an anti-inflammatory superfood is supposed to do, right? Yeah, that's not what happened. Not at all.
Instead, they found the complete opposite, and I'm going to quote this directly from the paper's conclusion because it's wild. Sulforaphane seemed to facilitate a mild pro-inflammatory state. Let me say that again. The supposedly anti-inflammatory food actually appeared to be encouraging inflammation. And you can see that trend right here. Both groups had a small inflammatory response to the shake, which is totally normal. But the broccoli sprout group showed a noticeably stronger trend toward inflammation. It was a total head-scratcher. So what gives? Is broccoli secretly bad for us?
No, of course not. This is where the story takes a turn and gets really, really interesting. This paradox, this completely unexpected result, it actually points to a much deeper, more sophisticated process happening inside our bodies. So how could more inflammation possibly be a good thing? Well, the answer seems to lie in a biological concept called hormesis. It's this fascinating principle that a little bit of a bad thing can actually be good for you. It's the idea that a mild, controlled stressor can trigger a powerful, protective response in the body.
And the absolute perfect analogy for this is exercise. Think about it. When you lift weights, you are literally creating tiny tears, a form of stress, in your muscle fibers. The immediate effect is damage and inflammation. But the long-term result, your body goes to work, repairs those tears, and builds the muscle back even stronger than it was before. That is hormesis right there.
So what this study suggests is that sulforaphane isn't acting like some external antioxidant that just swoops in to clean everything up. No, it's acting as a signal. That little pro-inflammatory flare-up we saw in the chart, that's the trigger. It flips a master switch in our cells, a pathway called NRF2, which basically tells our body to start producing its own incredibly powerful protective enzymes. In other words, broccoli doesn't fight the fire for us, it trains our internal fire department to be way better at its job. And when you think about it that way, this really elegant little study kind of prompts us to look at the bigger picture,
to maybe reframe how we think about healthy eating and what makes a food good for us in the first place. It suggests that true health might not be about wrapping ourselves in bubble wrap, trying to shield our bodies from every little stressor. Instead, maybe the goal is to strategically introduce these small, manageable stressors that actually build our resilience from the inside out, getting us ready for the bigger challenges life is going to throw our way.
And that really leaves us with a final thought to chew on. What if the real magic of foods like broccoli isn't in what they contain, but in what they teach? They're acting like coaches for our cells, waking up our own built-in defense systems. They don't just give us the fish, they're teaching our bodies how to fish for themselves.